my board members, our co-workers, our revered Hajj agents, press, men and women here present, our chiefs, if any here present, our imams here present. It is necessary anytime the Ghana Hajj Board attends an Umrah and Hajj conference in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and returns, that we engage our Hajj agents and inform them of the happenings in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and thereafter also engage the press, just to let the press know what is at stake for them to be forwarded and transmitted to the general public. Because we are here to serve the Ummah. We are here to serve the Ghanaian potential pilgrims who intend year in, year out to embark on pilgrimage to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. It is on the basis of this that, having returned from our Hajj and Umrah conference about 2 weeks ago, that we deem it necessary that we engage you today to let you know what is at stake for you. This is going to be a very short press engagement with you, and whatever we're going to say is written. After the written statement or press statement has been read out, it is prudent that we give you some time to engage us on certain pertinent questions or concerns that may be boggling your minds. Without much ado, and with the permission of our Hajj agents and with the permission of the Almighty Allah, I would like to commence reading the written statement. Members of the media, Hajj agents, and other stakeholders here and present, board members here present, I wish to welcome all of you to this brief yet important conference. Our mission here today is to announce the commencement of the 2024 Hajj season and to allow for interactions between the Hajj Board and the media. Today's engagement comes on the heels of the return of a Hajj Board delegation to this year's Hajj conference in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, an annual activity during which contracts for the various segments of the annual religious activity are signed between participating countries and the Ministry of Hajj and Umrah and other relevant bodies in Saudi Arabia. Yesterday, we engaged with one of our important stakeholders, the Hajj Agents Association, and briefed members about this year's Hajj. We hereby officially announce that, considering various factors, the cost of this year's Hajj, regardless of the rising cost of services in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the price remains 75,000 Ghana cedis, as it was last year. However, its dollar equivalent has been reduced, and at appropriate time, that reduction will be communicated to you soon. Last year, when the package was announced, we did state that we would maintain the same costs irrespective of whether the cedi loses its value against the dollar or not. Today, we are happy to announce that we are making good on our promise. The gaps which have obviously cropped up in costing the package will not be borne by the pilgrims. The prize package, as was the case last year, includes visa acquisition, a return flight from Tamale or Accra to Medina in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and from Jeddah to Tamale or Accra. Transportation from Medina to Mecca, Mecca to Mashayar, meaning Mina and Arafat, Mashayar to Mecca and to Jeddah Airport. Accommodation and feeding at Medina, Mecca and Mashayar cumulatively for 1 month. 40-kilogram luggage without charge, bags, ID cards, Zanzam, medical care, security and Hajj guide from the Dawah team to aid in the seamless performance of Hajj rites. Ladies and gentlemen, given the timeline to Hajj, the activities such as the presentation of passports to the board, issuance of visas, and the preparation of flight schedules to and fro, the deadline for the payment of the Hajj fare is mid-March 2024. Intending pilgrims are hereby encouraged to start payment from today through their accredited agents or through our accredited agents who are scattered across the country or directly into the Hajj Board's account. We should be mindful about the timelines because visa issuance, which commences on the 20th April 2024, will end on the 20th May 2024. And this time around, the deadlines given will be strictly adhered to. The airlift of pilgrims will commence from Tamale tentatively on 30th May 2024 and in Accra 8 June, while the return flight tentatively will commence on 28 June 2024. However, further and better particulars will be provided in due course when the flight schedules are finally firmed up. Some of the novelties emerging from our recent visit to Saudi Arabia include improved facilities and security, especially at Mina and Arafah. Visa abusers whose activities have impacted negatively on our operations and the comfort of pilgrims generally will be highly restricted and punished if caught in view of the fresh security arrangements agreed upon by the Saudi authorities. Ladies and gentlemen, for the purposes of performing Hajj, the Ghana Hajj Board is the only, my emphasis is only, legitimate body recognized and mandated by Saudi authorities to organize and manage the affairs of Ghanaian pilgrims to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Paying monies to any other person not recognized by the Ghana Hajj Board is at your own peril. We wish to use this opportunity to advise those who wish to go for the Hajj using tourist visas to be mindful about the inherent drawbacks and the fact that it is illegal to do so according to Saudi and Ghanaian laws, and to discard such thoughts. Stringent measures, unlike previous ones, are going to be rolled out by the Saudi authorities to prevent such persons from abusing their statuses, as tourists and not pilgrims. It will therefore be fraudulent on the part of any other person or body other than the Ghana Hajj Board to collect monies from unsuspecting potential pilgrims under the pretext of acquiring visas for them to perform Hajj. It is only the preserve of the Ghana Hajj Board to acquire Hajj visas for Ghanaian pilgrims. Section 131 of the Criminal Offences Act, Act 29, 1960, states, and I quote, "Whoever defrauds any person by false pretenses shall be guilty of a second-degree felony." Section, I quote, unquote, Section 132 says, "A person is guilty of defrauding by false pretenses if by means of any false pretense or by personation he obtains the consent of another person to part with or transfer the ownership of anything." Section 1331 says, "A false pretense is a representation of the existence of a state of facts made by a person, either with the knowledge that such representation is false or without the belief that it is true, and made with an intent to defraud." Let me clarify. Fraudulent representation is where you purport to claim that you can do something for someone and go ahead to make the person part with something when in reality you knew at the time you made the representation that you have no capability or you have no mandate to do something. Deceit number one is this: when you tell people that you can procure visa for them to do Hajj, when you know in fact that it is only the Ghana Hajj Board that has the legitimacy to procure visas for people to embark on pilgrimage to Mecca for purposes of performing Hajj. Deceit number two: the moment you procure tourism visa, which is not a Hajj visa, for any person to embark on pilgrimage to Mecca, that act alone is fraudulent, because you can't use tourism visa or Umrah visa to embark on pilgrimage to Mecca for the purposes of performing Hajj. And deceit number three: it is a known fact that if you are not an organization or a body recognized by the Saudi authorities, you cannot secure a place for a pilgrim or for your pilgrims in the Mashayar, especially Mina and Arafah. So that any person who purports to state and make a representation to any person that he or she has the capability of procuring a visa for any person to embark on pilgrimage to Mecca for the purposes of performing Hajj, and goes ahead to say that he can secure a place for the person in Mashayar when he or she knows that he doesn't have that means, he doesn't have that capability, he doesn't have that authority or mandate, that representation amounts to deceiving by fraud pretenses. And when you are caught and sent to court for trial, at the end of the day, you are convicted. You can go to jail for a maximum period of 10 years. So this fact and the position of the law ought to be brought to the notice of those who have the malice aforethought to be collecting monies from the unsuspecting public with the intent or on the pretext of sending them to Mecca for the purposes of they perform, when they know right from the outset that capability or authority doesn't exist. I continue. The Ghana Hajj Board is the only body engaged by the Saudi authorities to secure spaces at Mashayar, Mina, and Arafat. Engaging any other person or body will mean that you will not have access to Mina and Arafat legitimately, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is noted to have said, Al-Hajjul Arafah, meaning Arafah is Hajj. A pilgrim's Hajj cannot be valid without visiting and performing the necessary rites at Mina and Arafah. We intend airlifting 4,000 or so pilgrims to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia this year. But should it be necessary to upwardly review the figure, we will do so, provided that is within the timelines directed by the Saudi authorities. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to briefly present a scorecard of last year's operations. The 2023 season, although late in starting, was by and large successful, with no paid-up prospective pilgrims left behind. The announcement of the costs of the package being made late last year posed a challenge to executing the processes, but this drawback nonetheless, the Hajj Board and the agents were able to organize a successful airlift from the two theaters, that is Tamale and Accra, to and from the Holy Land uneventfully. A little over 4,000 persons were airlifted to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia from Tamale and Accra, operations which were uneventful thanks to the cooperation that played out between stakeholders such as the Hajj agents, the police, military, Ghana Airports Company Limited, the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, the Ghana Immigration Service, and the Narcotics Control Commission, among others. Let us use this opportunity to thank His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, His Excellency the Vice President, Dr. Alhaji Mahamudu Bawumia, the Chief of Staff, the Finance Minister, the entire government for their unflinching support for the past 7 to 8 years for the successful organization of every year's Hajj. Let us also seize this opportunity to thank the National Chief Imam, our Zongo chiefs, our various sectorial imams, and other stakeholders, especially the Hajj agents and the press men and women, for supporting us for up to this time. Members of the media, we do not intend to keep you for too long, and so would like to conclude my speech at this point. The board would like to field questions, if there are any. Thank you so much for coming. We are grateful for your rapt attention. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
HAFIZ TV, unique every day.